Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Achenbach.
And I am Tyler Esselman.
And you are listening to...
This One Goes to 11.
This One Goes
our
to
podcast.
11. It's our podcast. It's ours. Totally our podcast. I mean, we share with the people who come on.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, what...
It's for the people.
Yeah. What exactly is it, Tyler, in case our listeners don't know?
If you've never listened to it before, this is our music podcast. It is the place where Michael and I, it's like the virtual space that Michael and I have created where our friends, family, and other assorted loved ones can bring their favorite albums on. But not just their favorite albums. It's albums that they believe are perfect.
So perfect, in fact, that 10 out of 10 just is not good enough.
Not at all. And they have to convince us of that. They have to make their case and they have to win. It's all about winning.
Joining us on the digital Zoom couch, I guess we could call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. And this is a pretty big moment for us. A first for us is a person that we weren't friends with before.
Yeah, this is
a person who's now a friend but was a stranger before.
A stranger. We've made it. Like we're talking to people who we didn't know beforehand, but now we do know them or something.
That's right. We're already a success. That's how we have to live our lives, right?
Who are we talking to, Tyler?
Today we're talking to the lovely Michael Achenbach. Michael Achenbach is a beautiful human being. So let's start with that. Okay. He's a podcaster, a performer, a mental health advocate, and he is a really great listener. His podcast, and he is a podcaster himself, Your Nerdy Obsession is what it's called. It takes a deep dive into the obsessions that dominate the hearts and minds of his loved ones. And regarding the things that Michael himself loves, they're manifold. There are baked goods, loves a good croissant. He loves a good movie night, his pups, and he's quite the connoisseur of a good Lego set. So you're going to love this one. Michael is generous with his energy and attention. He's incisive and thoughtful. In short, he's a joy, and you're going to love this guy, guaranteed. I really enjoyed talking to him a lot.
He came prepared, like capital P, prepared. I mean,
no shade to any of our other guests, but he might have been the most prepared of anyone so far.
Yeah, and future guests like this, you should listen to this one because there's the professor in me is so happy. I felt like there was an imaginary rubric that I had in mind for these episodes that he just checked off all the boxes, and I didn't realize that the rubric existed. It was
right.
Pretty great.
He showed his work, which is so important with this. The lyrics, and the album that he brought was one that I've really enjoyed this experience, where it's an album that I know obviously and I appreciate for what it is, but I don't know it deeply. And now I have been re-listening to it a lot because it is I think very, very useful and timely in these tumultuous times that we're living in.
Yeah, and I think it's good too. I mean, with a podcast like ours, a lot of times, conversations about albums and music can veer towards the snobby or elitist, I might say. And, a lot of times, sometimes people can dismiss pop music, but there is some significant value to pop music. And getting to talk about this album with him and dig a lot deeper into what was going on with it. I had a greater appreciation for an artist that, frankly, I already appreciated a hell of a lot. So it was a great talk.
Pop music is necessary, people. That's what I've come to discover. We need it.
It's true. It's true.
Well, let's let Michael start constructing his argument and prepare to be dazzled.
Yeah,
my
and
friends.
Prepare to be confused by the fact that there's two Michaels on the podcast too. Let's just establish that.
You'll get the hang of it.
Yeah. They're smart. Well, this is a treat for us because for the first time in the history of the This One Goes to 11 sphere, we have a total stranger joining us on the pod. I feel like we're real boys now, Tyler.
Yeah, if we weren't before, we are now.
I'm a real boy.
Yeah. Michael Achenbach, welcome to This One Goes to 11. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me so much, and thank you for also being strangers. And this is the first time I'm a guest. I host a couple podcasts, which we'll talk about later, but I'm excited to be a guest with you guys and not know anything about each other. So this will be great.
If your host hat comes on a little bit, that's not going to be the worst thing in the world. We can probably learn a lot from you and your technique as well. Anyway,
everyone learns from each other. That's how I roll. So
exactly, we're always learning. We haven't learned
Yes.
everything. The day we learn everything will be the day that we vaporize.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we'll spontaneously combust then once you've known pure knowledge.
That's actually what spontaneous combustion,
Yeah,
the myth is
turn
the
into-
actual reason.
we turn into pure light. That's basically what
There you
happens.
I'm ready for my pure light era. That's going to be my pure light era is going to be the best one yet.
It's been the best Tyler Esselman you can be.
Exactly.
Well, Michael, would you mind telling us what album hath thou brought before that this one goes to 11 tribunal today?
I hath brought the album from the siren Lizzo called "'Cause I Love You" (parenthesis super deluxe parenthesis), which we'll get into. The only reason I chose that was for one song that was on only the super deluxe version.
Excellent. I have heard of this Lizzo person.
Yes.
I think for a while everyone had heard of this Lizzo person because I would say for about a year I feel like she was in every commercial that played on television for a little while.
Michael, if you've Michael A, if you have we more double your Michael's, double your fun. We have a little segment that we like to do to catch our listeners up on the musician that we're talking about and the album that we're talking about, called The Beginner's Guide to fill in the blank in 60 seconds. So this week it is The Beginner's Guide to Lizzo and "'Cause I Love You" in 60 seconds. Michael O will be taking on that challenge today. Michael O, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, 60 seconds are on the clock. Go.
Do your hair toss, check your nails, because we are 100% covering the body positive rapper, flautist, and hip hop artist from Minneapolis, by way of Houston, by way of Detroit, Melissa Jefferson, aka Lizzo. She spent 6 months living out of her car before joining a band off Craigslist and eventually singing backup for Prince. She released 2 albums independently. She opened for acts like Slater Kinney in 2015 and Haim and Florence and the Machine in 2018, and she had her music featured on Broad City. Her 2019 album, "'Cause I Love You," is what cemented her superstar status, though ironically, her first #1 hit, "Truth Hurts," wasn't even on the album, but gained popularity 2 years later, which led to a deluxe edition release of the album, including some older bangers. Since then, she's acted in the movie Hustlers. She won a bunch of Grammys. She appeared as a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race multiple times. She hosted and performed SNL, produced a reality show to add to her roster of plus-size backup dancers, and I guess you might say she's doing good as hell.
Bravo.
Well done. Right in the nick of time. Right in the Saint Nick of time.
I timed that out.
Practiced it in your mirror this morning.
Exactly.
Well done, Michael. Michael A, how do you feel our friend Michael O did giving an overview and kind of expressing the flavor of Lizzo that we will be diving into today? If you, in your own words, if you had to rate that.
Yeah, well, since I have listened to an episode, I am going to give Michael O 4 nails did and 3 hair tosses of how amazing that was. So
4 nails did and 3 hair tosses?
Yes.
That's good. I will take that. I'll take that.
Well, let's start a little bit with you, Michael A. Let's talk about what your relationship is with music writ large. How does it exist in your life?
So music to me has always been a feeling, or like how it like connects with me within the moment or within anything. Like as a child of the 90s and growing up, like we came to an era of, I mean, not the greatest music in the world. We had a lot of horrible music then, but like also a lot of emoting music, right? Like it really connected with, I think, as a teenager and everything like that. And so I've always learned to just, whatever comes on, if I connect with, I follow it, or I just like that one single song. So for this show, I was a little daunted because an album is something that I've never truly like thought about, that I've connected to, like a whole album. Mm-hmm. I have these playlists on Spotify that I can like, motivational mixes or like, workout mixes and stuff like that like connect me or like give me that rhythm to keep doing what I need to do, but never like something connected as a or packaged as like a product that way. Right. Mm-hmm. So music as a whole, I just go off of feeling, and I think the feeling comes from the lyrics, and the lyrics for me are what the meaning of the song is, or like what the meaning of what they're trying to get across is. If I can't understand that, or I can't understand the emotion that you're trying to get across with the music, because I do listen to a lot of like soundtracks and stuff, I don't connect with it. It's just, it just kind of is disconnected a little bit.
Is it the sort of thing, I mean, when you do listen to it, are you more drawn to stuff that you can have private reflection with, or is it more stuff that makes you move, or is it not really tied to a specific purpose or occasion?
I think it's the opposite. It is tied to a specific purpose or occasion, but it's never specifically found. So like if I'm sitting in my office working on something and I just have a movie soundtrack on, I'll find a song and it just hits me in that moment and it just connects with me and I'm just like zoned into that. There's this movie song that came on while I was working and I literally had it on repeat 6 times because I just couldn't stop like listening to it. But I can't tell you why it happened, right? It just was that moment, that instance, right? And we'll get into, especially when we get into this album, the story of how this album came into my life was interesting.
Well, why don't you tell us a little? I mean,
you
served us up right there. So, let's talk about the first.
I told you guys, I'm just a host in a guest's body.
we appreciate that. We appreciate people who can manage their transitions. It makes our job easier.
That is huge.
Yeah. So I listened to it on the day that it came out, which was April 11th, I believe, or April 19th. Apologies, April 19th. And I looked up the weather because I remember it one way and I just wanted to make sure that I remembered it correctly. But the day before it had rained, in Chicago is where I'm at. And I walk the dogs every morning. It was like 7:30 or something like that. And I woke up, it had just rained and it was 30s and 40s. So it's like that perfect, just becoming spring weather, long sleeve shirts, jeans, perfect. It was crisp. It was great. The walk happened and Lizzo popped up on my Spotify. Someone you might know, this new album came out. I'm like, cool. I listened to it. And the first song, which is the title song, "Cause I Love You," hit me in such a way that I started crying on this walk because in the moment there, I've been in my relationship with my current boyfriend. His name is Matt. We're going on 5 years in October. And the amount of growth that I've done for myself as a person and also within the relationship that I am in has just changed so much within these like 5 years of my life. And that's due to a lot of the amount of self-love that I put into myself, the amount of work in therapy and all the mental health and everything that I've put into myself to make it happen. But this "Cause I Love You" song hit me because it connected self-love and love for a person, I think, in such a different way that I've ever really like experienced before. It's how I understood what love meant. And you could take each sentence or each verse and everything that way towards yourself and also towards someone else. Like it could be that way. And it just hit me in a very strange way. And that was the moment. And then I just went on the journey of that whole entire album, finding that it was just all about self-love, making sure that you put yourself first. Yes, you're going to have love, you're going to have heartache, you're going to have pain, you're going to want to cry, you're going to want to do all of this stuff and just be emotion because we're all human and complex. And that's what that journey was of this whole thing, of that whole album. And I just followed it after that first song and on that walk, and it just really connected with me.
Yeah. Did you know her much before, or was this like brand new? You had never heard of Lizzo before that morning?
Nothing about her.
Wow.
I knew because the singles came out. So like I knew Juice. And I think that was actually the only one that I heard before the album came out. Yeah. And it just like hit me. And then I just went on a deep dive of everything of hers and now have a playlist just dedicated to her music on Spotify.
All right, I got to give you some points for that beautiful portrait that you just painted. I'm going to give you 3 good, healthy cries while walking the dog because that is pretty beautiful. I mean,
since I have 2 dogs, does that a double bonus? Is that what that is?
I guess it's 6. I guess it's by fact. Yeah. So that's 6 healthy cries. Yeah. I see you angling for points. I remember that time too. She was sort of, before the album itself came out, it seemed like she was in the ether. She was ready. She was ready to pop off. And I think you could feel big things coming just in you would hear little snippets. That song Juice was everywhere at that time.
Every club. every gay bar, every nightclub, every place in the world it was being played.
Understandably so. It's just, it catches your ear like that. But Because I Love You is such a different song from Juice too, and a really strong way, just a really explosive way to start an album.
Her whole album is a mix of like jazz and pop and like this R&B soul that is almost techno in a way, right? Like or dance, maybe not techno, but like almost dance. And it's so interesting that she starts it off with like a straight up jazz opening, right? Like it's a lounge singer, 'Cause I Love You belt. Like it's just a beautiful way to start an album too.
I would agree with you. I first became aware of Lizzo because she opened for Slater-Kinney, like, which is so crazy. It's so crazy because so I don't know how much you know about Slater-Kinney, but those things do not. Slater-Kinney is like a riot girl band from the Pacific Northwest.
That's what it looked like. I'm going to say I googled it on the side when you said it, so it's
yeah.
I saw pictures.
And so when I saw they toured and Lizzo was the opening, and no one there had ever heard of it, but that is not a Lizzo crowd, really, and yet everyone in that place loved her, like because there was something infectious about her, even though the music didn't match with the act that was going to be following her. Because she even also, I mean, this is how smart she is. She knew who she was opening for, and at one point during the performance, I think she sort of covered part of a Bikini Kill song, which they're like the riot girl band. I mean, that's so she had us eating out of the palm of her hand from the very, very beginning. So from
I don't know about you guys. I want more of that. I want more of this, of the kind of like asymmetrical opening act, headlining act.
Yes. Yeah. I'd rather. That's way more interesting than something that sounds like what you're about to hear. And then, of course, she's gradually been taking over RuPaul's Drag Race, because that's the next place I saw her when Good as Hell was the lip sync song. So
yes, and I think she's the greatest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. On a side note, if you've watched it, I think she's the best one.
She's definitely in the top 5, along with Amy Sedaris and Latoya Jackson, and who else is really good? Oh, I'll have to think about it. That's
Amy
that's
Sedaris
a top 5 list I want to make.
Yeah,
you need to publish that. Amy Sedaris and Lizzo, though, I think they have some shared spirit. They have to,
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Amy Sedaris embodies everything that Lizzo does in the weirdest way possible.
Yeah. Well, the flute thing, I think there's a sort of whimsy. There's a whimsy to her whole persona that, I don't know, I think she talks about really serious stuff on this album, like self-love and just love, and kind of deconstructing the idea of how love needs to exist for us right now. But it doesn't really feel like she takes herself too seriously, which I think is a strength of it.
Yeah, I think a sense of humor, but I think it also comes in it. What's the word I'm trying to think of? A self-understanding, or you're very self-aware of yourself. I think that's what comes a lot from what you hear in her songs, because she's talking about like the main one of the 3 songs on the album that I think are like talking about love, whether it be self-love or romantic directly, are 'Cause I Love You, Truth Hurts, and Water Me. We can fight me on it later, but
no, I agree with that.
Water Me, I think, is such an interesting song that could be completely about sex, and I'm just reading way too much into it. 2, it could be about what you deserve as a person, and that love that taking the time to, like, if you're not putting in to me what I'm giving to you, then what's the point of this type of relationship? What's the point of this moving forward? And I completely forgot the point I was going at, so I apologize.
That's okay. I think it was well made.
I think that amount of self-love that you can tell within the album once you get to Water Me, which is also only on a deluxe version. It's not on the main album. When you get to that, I think you see the most vulnerable part of her. Like, she's saying, like, she's free, right? I have the lyrics here because I love, like, that is honestly like the lyrics of this whole entire album of what make it for me. Like, I don't get dehydrated. I moisturize it daily. I am my inspiration. But I love you, no limit. I need to know you in it. If you got time, let's spend it. I am free. Come water me. love you so, but if you don't, I have to leave. Like,
you
you know what I mean? Just like talking
Points.
just talking purely about like, I am the only person that can give me my inspiration, like what I want to pursue in life. Like talking about, I'm there, I love you, and I will be there. But if you can't give me back, like just that like understanding of who you are as a person. There's my point, guys. Understanding who you are as a person to be in a relationship and be like, I love you, but this is not working because X, Y, and Z. And understanding that love can be that complex. Yes, true love is something and it's great, but true love doesn't mean it's perfect, and true love has to have work put in.
You, by the way, you got 777 points for your lyric reading of Water Me. I think that's a great point, and I want to like I take a moment to appreciate the sort of attitude that goes through this, the confidence, because I think when it comes to confidence with artists, I don't know, my therapist always used to say that you can fake it till you make it, right? You can act as if you are confident. Yeah. You can act as if you are confident, and then that will. We love Amber, by the way. If you act as if you're confident, then you will begin to like imprint those habits into yourself. And I think when I listen to this, I'm just like, this person is so on both of her feet. She's so grounded in her like self-belief. And there's no moment at which I feel, of course, maybe there's expressions of what desperation kind of feels like, or desperation for a lack of something. But it just kind of feels like, wow, what an amazing portrait of somebody who really feels like they have everything they need. And it's not about want, really. Because so much of art is you're saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. And what she's saying is, I already have it all.
Yeah. Like, she's like, here I am, you can take it. I have what I want. Done. Yeah, it's so true. I think so to transition to like the next kind of thoughts of these songs was the empowerment songs. Like this is riddled with that, right?
Yeah, the whole album, pretty much.
Yeah, the whole album, basically. Yeah. The ones that I chose as like the super empowerment songs are Like a Girl, which it's not my standout track, but it was a close second, and we'll talk about it. Yeah. Juice, Tempo, Exactly How I Feel, and Good as Hell. Like a Girl is exactly what you're saying. Claiming my narrative. Now, I understand as a white male, though gay, I have no idea how a female empowerment and that aspect of life is. The way that I connect with this song is I look at it as she's claiming what she wants to do, knowing that she can do all of these things, and that even though that we're humans, even that we have all these like emotional ups and downs and everything like that, we are a complex person. And I think also she adds a very specific line in terms of like the words that she uses, because she says, so if you fight like a girl, cry like a girl, do your thing, run the whole damn world. If you feel like a girl, then you're real like a girl, do your thing, run the whole damn world. That is something that's never been, I think, truly, she chose those words solely to represent the trans community and to represent all communities that are female oriented, right? That I don't think is a mistake on her part. And I think she chose words very specifically in that whole entire song, if you listen to it from beginning to end, that speak to all empowerment in that sense.
And also something I like about that song too is then she, whether it's planned or not, it ends on a mistake. Like it ends, but I love that she leaves that in there, because I mean, we're talking about this album as being her presenting herself like, here's all of me, take me or leave me. There are these little things throughout the album where it feels like it's she makes a mistake, but I'm going to leave it in. Or she has like a little casual phrase that she throws in. She's like, oh, we'll leave that in there. Like, why not? Like on Tempo, when she says accessory, which I'm sure is built into the lyrics specifically, but also the fact that it's in there cute. And that she acknowledges it right after that. It's just that feels like a prime Lizzo moment for me.
100%. Yeah. And also every song that has flute on it. Every song, like, because like after she came on the scene, there was no one that didn't know she played that thing. So and it's it's classically trained. She is. It's not. She ain't just playing around with that flute. She knows what she's doing.
Hell no.
She very much talks about the pain. The pain is in the lyrics, but everything within it is this moving forward energy. Like there is not a song on here that sits back. Even if it's slower, it's not sitting back. It is pushing forward in rhythm and everything like that. Versus, you know, you listen to some songs and you're just like, all right, I can chill. I can sit on a couch and relax to this. I think any song on this, I could be on a treadmill working out and have something, you know, and I think that says something about the beat and the rhythm and everything like that.
Did we have another grouping? I like these groupings.
I mean,
Yes, this is good.
I do have two other groupings, but we can wait till
Give me
after
the
the
groupings.
standout. Or you want me to do?
I think this is a good time for the groupings.
Okay, cool. I have my mantra, which is the standout track, which we'll come back to, which is one grouping. The two other groupings I have are toxic relationships and sex positivity or open about sex. So the toxic relationship songs I have are Jerome, Crybaby, and Heaven Help Me.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I think
Jerome.
everyone has had a Jerome. Everyone, like, go back and be an adult. Like, you might be cute, but like, get your shit together, sir. Like,
or we've been to Jerome. You know,
yes,
there's also
100%. I think I am the Jerome in my current relationship, and he's setting me on a non-Jerome path. We'll put it that way.
We're all just looking for someone to break our Jerome.
Yes,
that's what we're looking for.
Oh, that's so true. That is so true. But again, like the Jerome lyrics, I'm going to go back to it. I will quote, I literally will quote everything from her. She said, I never said I was perfect. Oh, or you don't deserve a good person to carry your baggage. I know a few girls that'll handle it. I ain't that kind of chick, but I can call them for you. Another Lizzo moment, like you said, Michael. Like cute little, I got some people for you anyways. Yeah. I never said that you wasn't attractive. Your style and that beard, oh, don't get me distracted. I'm trying to be patient, and patience takes practice. The fact is I'm leaving, so just let me have this. That mindset, I've been in that mindset before. I know people like that have been in that like relationship where you're like, I love this person. I root for this person, but this person is not good for me like at all. And it's such a way to look at it versus every other, I think, song that's come previously where that type of relationship is more like Earl's Gotta Die, like anger towards the, you know what I mean? Like it's true, but like it's either anger towards this person or like how you broke me. And this is neither. I think this is being like, look, I have an understanding of what our relationship was. I know what it was. Let's move on. You can grow up. I can do what I need to do. And let's just do this. And I think that's so
it's
interesting.
not digging her keys into the, digging her keys into the side of his car kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Also, she runs out of air during that song. She is so exhausted by this person that she needs to take a breath because she can't fully communicate everything she needs to say.
Yes, right, 100%. And then the other two, Crybaby and Heaven Help Me. But Heaven Help Me, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. What? Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I hear you. 1,400 points for that.
Yes. Heaven Help Me. If love ain't dead, I'm a kill it because it's killing me. Cold world, don't be living in a fantasy. Got me, it's the only thing I'll ever need. Heaven help me. If love ain't dead, I'm a kill it because it's killing me. Love is a drug, methamphetamine, DARE. They'll be hooked on me. Such a beautiful description of what love is. Like it is a drug. It is pain. It is cold. It is something how I describe, for people who don't know a lot about me, I am a very big mental health advocate. I myself am very open about the struggles and journey that I've gone on my depression and suicide thoughts and ideologies that I've had in my past. But with a lot of time and medication and therapy and all that stuff, I'm a better human being, and I promote that, right? I think this song and also Crybaby. Crybaby is just a song basically giving you permission to cry, like beginning to end. That's what that song is, like a core of what it is, right? And the struggle of goodbye. But Heaven Help Me, understanding that love is the good and the bad, and understanding that I think people with depression or people that struggle with understanding the difference between what reality and fantasy is, right? So we as humans just emotionally react to what our outside stimulus is telling us. So anything that comes at us, we translate it from however we were raised or however we reacted in the past, right? When you get into a mindset, or when I was really depressed, I would get into this mindset of translating things into my fantasy world. So like I would think people hate me when they didn't hate me, or people like go out of their way to like do stuff when they probably weren't even thinking about me, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was all of how I translated things happening to me. And so you live in this fantasy, and I think heaven help me, like I said in those lyrics, like it's true. It's a cold world and I can't be living in the fantasy. And then she's just like, you're going to get hooked on me. I need to kill this love. If it is real, it is. If this is fake, I don't know. I need to kill it. Toxic relationship mixed in with the toxic self-talk and that toxic fantasy that you're like putting yourself through of what a relationship could be or what a relationship might be in your head versus what the reality of the situation is. And I see those three as like working it out versus like being in pain about it. Right.
I think I had a friend recently who there's that idea of you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else, right? And
amen. RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, I sort of said that to a friend of mine recently, and my friend was like, "Fuck that." That's not. She was like, you got to be able to do both at the same time. You have to be able to be honest with yourself about like learning how to love yourself is something that is an ongoing process, and that there isn't going to be a finish point with that. And that the thing is like being able to live in a relationship where you can be learning how to do that parallel with somebody else. Yeah. I see that in this album as well, where she's saying this is a process. There isn't an end point to this. There is going to be, you're going to fail, you're going to cry, you're going to have bad days, but there's really, as long as you're on that journey, then you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the only thing that I'm going to disagree with your friend on is I do think that the journey has to start with some sort of love of yourself. Yeah. I don't think you could go into a relationship thinking that you are the shittiest person and don't deserve love.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree it has to be in tandem, and that's fantastic, but I don't think healthy relationships are built when they're started that way.
Yeah.
That's just my 2
cents. I agree. No, I'd agree with you too.
And what's your next grouping, Michael?
The next grouping is sex positivity or openness. Yes.
That's all over this album as well.
All over, and everyone. The Better in Color, Lingerie. We're going to separate those two out, which I think are just sexy songs. Just sexy, dripping sexy songs. Like, do you guys remember back in the 90s, Jamie Foxx's sex album that he tried to put out there, or like his first album? Anybody?
No. Now
I wish I would have looked it up.
I know what Jamie I'm Googling after this.
I think I'm pretty sure it was his first album, but like it came out and it's just like every song is just sex. Like it is legit like a song to have sex, like an album to have sex to is what he produced. Like it's all it is. This like those two songs gave me like massive like flashbacks of that, where it's just like you're like walking, it's sultry, you're just like dripping, and it's just like both of them. And I'm just like, Jamie Foxx has written all over this. Great songs about loving yourself, feeling yourself. The thing with Lingerie in particular, I'm glad I'm tickling your guys' funny bones. It makes me feel good.
Of course, yes.
I think the thing with Lingerie, and this is me being way more probably thought than I need to be, but it talks about being vulnerable and how she wants to lounge around on the couch. Like I don't like in a metaphorical way, the lingerie is not real. The lingerie is being open, being honest, being vulnerable with someone that you love, and you understanding, like you said, Michael, like the process, like you have to get to a place where you can be that way with someone, where you have to be vulnerable and just being on a couch with someone. Because sometimes sitting in silence is the most uncomfortable thing to do in the world. And honestly, like the people that I love the closest are the people that I don't talk to the most when we're together in a room, because it is like, it's just, you just have to sit there and be vulnerable. And I think that is really in Lingerie, but the sex positivity song I really want to spend our time on. I'll let you guys have your thoughts on that. Is I like big boys, itty bitty boys, Mississippi boys, inner city boys. I like pretty boys with the bow tie. Get your nails did, let it blow dry. I like big beards. I like clean face. I don't discriminate. Come and get a taste. From the playboys to the gay boys, go and slay boys. You my fave boys. Yeah. Let me tell you how connected I feel to that song. Not only
only on the deluxe version. Only on the deluxe.
Only on the deluxe version. And so, if you've not heard this song, it is beginning to end phenomenal. I love this song so much. But it's just fun. It's just Lizzo to a T. Like, it is just what she is as a person, and it's just exactly how I feel about boys. I just like boys. I don't care. I don't discriminate. Boys are boys. Like, that's what they are.
Yes.
I mean, even everything about, I don't know, like, I was, raised Irish Catholic for so long, so we didn't talk about sex so for so long. Sure. Like, I mean, I still feel like there are some things that I have a hard time even expressing or saying about it, and she just does not have that problem throughout this whole thing. And it's one of the aspects of her and of this album that I admit I'm a little jealous of. I wish that I could be that expressive, be that comfortable, be that confident, and I don't know. It's inspiring in some ways. I'm just sort of like, where were you when I was growing up?
I think it's courageous. I think it doesn't surprise me at all that she would own it in that way. And I think there's a lot to be learned about claiming sexuality, no matter your gender, in that way, and feeling confident in it. And I would say I'm jealous of that too. I got my Catholic heritage, that is in me, and I think there are some things I love from my Catholic heritage, and there's some things that I think I'm still working through. Having no shame about your body and having no shame about your sexuality is something we can always use more of right now. I think. You need some points. We're gonna say, I don't know, 3,000 points for your groupings. This is something we haven't had. This is something we haven't had on the pod so far.
Oh, really?
I hope that take note, other future guests. This is fun. Michael A had a good idea.
It's how my brain works.
I love it.
It needs to be compartmentalized.
So should we get to the standout track?
Yeah, there's one grouping we haven't covered yet. You want to prep your standout track for us?
Yes, standout track. This, like I've said a couple times, like it was between three, but I ended on Soulmate. And the reason for it is I think this song encompasses what the album is. Period. True love ain't something you can buy yourself. True love finally happens when you buy yourself. So if you buy yourself, then go and buy yourself another round from the bottle on the higher shelf. The definition of true love, like, it goes back to exactly what we were talking about. Like, you have to love yourself in order for you to dive into something more or actually understand what it means to love somebody else. And I think she hits it. And I put in my, because I have lyrics on this notepad that I took here. Yes. But I put in there, I said the whole entire song from beginning to end, the lyrics are phenomenal. They speak to exactly who she is as a person. And it's just her being so open and vulnerable and showing us her and just saying, I'm going to love myself. I don't care what anyone says. And I think it's perfect.
And the chorus is, because I'm my own soulmate.
Because I'm my own soulmate. I know how to love me. I know that I'm always going to hold me down. Yeah, I'm my own soulmate. No, I'm never lonely. I know I'm a queen, but I don't need no crown. Look up in the mirror like, damn, she's the one. Yes. Yeah, that is, I would say, if there's a thesis statement to this album, 100%. I'm my own soulmate. I know how to love me. I know that I'm always going to hold me down is a fitting thesis statement. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Well, let's let our listeners get a taste.
That's the end of part one. If you access this episode via our YouTube playlist, you're about to hear our guest's standout track. If you'd like to jump ahead to part two, you'll find a link in the description of this episode.